Hello guys, Belle here. Going to be talking about the Fury Warrior. And sorry I'm so late with the Warrior videos. I got sick after beta was released and haven't had a chance until recently when I got my voice back to be able to go and do these videos. So wanted to go ahead and give you guys an overview of what's current in beta for Legion. Here's going to be your weapon. This is going to be your sword, which is the Odin's Fury. Pretty swanky. I dig it. I like it. Looks good. Good things, good things. I am level 110 currently, so here's going to be your new condensed stat window, which I do like because you get to see the stats that you actually care about versus the ones that are just kind of additional that you don't really need to have on hand. Here is also going to be your, here's your spell book with the spells that you do have. All the stuff that you do have is in here. So let's talk a little bit about what the Arms Warrior is looking like. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I do not arms. I don't really warrior, but don't really need to do all that in order to be able to highlight and show you guys what your specific classes and specs are looking like. So for the Fury Warrior, your main abilities for your Fury Warrior and what you're going to be focusing on is going to be your Bloodthirst, your Rampage, your Whirlwind, Raging Blow, Furious Slash, and your Enrage, which of course your Enrage is passive, so that's important to know that. Now, the Fury specific talent, one of them is going to be the Frenzy, which basically is the talent's redesigned. Fury Slash increases your haste by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Now, it's important to note that this is beta, so literally between now and tomorrow, this could all change because they are dealing with that. Your mastery for your Fury Warrior is going to be Unshackled Fury. It is going to increase damage done while enraged by 28%. So that's just a look at what you're dealing with when it comes to being Fury Warrior. Now, from what I know of all warriors, because I go against them a lot in PvP, they're pretty scary. As a warlock, I can kill them. Not easily, though. Fuck around with that Blade Storm, but let's go ahead and go over the talents here so that you guys can see what you're working with. So for your first set of talents, which is going to be your level 15 talents, you have War Machine. This is a passive ability. Killing a target grants you 30% haste and 30% movement speed for 10 seconds. In the same set, you also have Endless Rage. This is a passive ability. Your auto attack generates 30% additional rage, and then you also have Fresh Meat. Bloodthirst has a 30% increased critical strike against targets above 80% health. So, these are all passive, which I think I've noted in several videos before, the fact that Blizzard has chosen to go with so many passive abilities in your talent setup here. So for this one, you have your killing target grants you 30% haste and 30% movement speed, or your auto attack generates an additional 30% additional rage. I think I'm just going to choose this one just for now. Those of you that main Fury Warrior will know which one will be useful in most cases, but for our purposes, because it is going to help us with the additional rage for the auto attack, which I think I have that somewhere. Yep, that's already on my bar. So, yeah, that's definitely good, especially with melee. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with that, although I can see the need for the Fresh Meat usage in a lot of instances as well. The next set, which is level 30, you have Shockwave. This is an instant ability. It does have a small 40-second cooldown. That's not too terrible. It does send a wave of force in a frontal cone, causing a certain amount of damage. Now, this is at 21k damage with my base gear that you get when you start on a beta realm on PvP server, which is, I think we're dealing with not combatant. What's it called? Yeah, the Vindictive Combatant. So this is the first set of gear with the item level of 810 is what you're dealing with for that when I tell you what your base damage is going to be. Now, this does stun all enemies within 10 yards for 4 seconds. Cooldown reduced by 20 seconds if it strikes at least 3 targets. So this is going to be pretty useful in a lot of situations on a lot of mobs, especially when you're dealing with a lot of solo gameplay. You can also see this being useful in raids when you're dealing with mobs as well, as far as trying to help the healers out a little bit by stunning some of the higher amount of mobs, and then also, of course, in RPGs, that would be a really useful stun. You also have Storm Bolt. This is an instant ability. It's on a 30-second cooldown. It hurls your weapon at the enemy, causing 44k physical damage and stunning the target for 4 seconds. also pretty awesome. And then you also have double time, which is a passive ability. Increases the maximum number of charges by 1 and reduces its cooldown by 3%. So for this instance, I think we'll probably just do Stormbolt, just so I can show how that animation looks on the screen. I'm not sure what's added as far as there's been so many changes in just even from alpha to beta. They're still doing a lot of tuning and a lot of talent changes. So you guys will just have to keep a lookout, and I'll try to keep this stuff as updated as humanly possible. For your level 45, you have Wrecking Ball. This is a passive ability. Your attacks have a chance to make your next whirlwind cost no rage and deal 200% increased damage. That's amazing. Like, really amazing. But then you also have Outburst. This is passive. Your Berserker Rage now causes enrage, which is pretty nice. And your Berserker Rage is on a 1-minute cooldown. And then you have Avatar. This is an instant ability. It's a 1.5-minute cooldown. Transform you into a Colossus for 20 seconds, causing it to deal 20% increased damage and removing all roots and stuns. So all of these right here, I think this one's going to be pretty useful in a lot of situations, including PvP. But for this purpose, I'm just going to choose Wrecking Ball just because I like the name. For level 60, you have Furious Charge. Your Furious Charge is a passive ability. Charge also increases the healing from your next Bloodthirst by 300%, which your Bloodthirst here, small little cooldown, and does restores 5% of your health while it's doing damage. So that's pretty useful. And the fact that this right here literally by 300%, it's pretty awesome. You also have your Bounding Strike. This is a passive ability, reduces the cooldown on Heroic Leap by 15% or by 15 seconds. And Heroic Leap now also increases your run speed by 70% for 30 seconds. For the same set, you also have War Paint. This is a passive ability. You now take 20% increased damage. Take only 20% increased damage from Enrage. I think for this purpose, we'll just, doesn't really matter, but I'll just choose that one just for argument's sake. For your level 75, you have Massacre. This is a passive ability. Execute critical strikes, reduce the rage cost of your next rampage by 100%. And your rampage is 85 rage, so that's pretty awesome. Your Frothing Berserker. This is a passive ability. When you reach 100 rage, your damage is increased by 10% and your movement speed by 30% for 6 seconds. Then, of course, ye olde Blade Storm. This is a 1-minute cooldown. This is also a Warlock Killer. Become an unstoppable storm of destructive force, striking all targets within 8 yards with both weapons for an extreme, almost 800k physical damage. You are immune to movement impairing effects, such as a Warlock trying to fear you. I've tried, guys. Sometimes I didn't really realize in the very beginning when I started PvPing on my Destruction Warlock that I could not CC Bladestorm. It took somebody saying, hey, by the way, can you please stop trying to CC the Bladestorm because it's not going to happen. Funny anyway, but yeah, can also use defensive abilities that can avoid attacks. So Bladestorm's still pretty gnarly in a lot of instances, and 90% of it, in my opinion, because I've been against these guys in RBGs, is going to be for PvP. Your level 90, you have Meat Grinder. This is a passive ability. Whirlwind causes your next rampage to strike up to 4 additional targets for 50% damage. You also have Frenzy. This is also going to be passive. A lot of passive abilities here. Your Frenzy is a Furious Slash, increases your haste by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, which is pretty nice. And then, of course, you have Inner Rage as the passive. Raging Blow no longer requires Enrage and deals 100% increased damage, but it does have a 4.5 second cooldown. So that's pretty nice, though, in general. I like that. We'll choose that just because. We're going to have Bladestorm because, you know, guys, Bladestorm, right? I'm actually going to pop that on there because I've always wanted to use it. So for your level 100, which your last set of talents is always going to be your most important, you have Carnage. This is another passive ability. It does reduce the cost of your rampage by 20 rage. Pretty awesome because it's 85 rage. So that could make it where you could use it a lot quicker. You also have Reckless Abandon. The passive ability, Battlecry, generates 100 rage. That's amazing because, where is your Battlecry? It's on a 50-second cooldown. So this, if you use this, this will give you 100 rage, which is nice because you could use one of your other abilities. And then you also, in the same one though, you have Dragon Roar. This is an instant ability. It has a small, little tiny 20-second cooldown. Roar Explosion, dealing 44k damage to all enemies within 8 yards and increasing all damage you deal by 20% for 6 seconds. Dragon Roar ignores all armor and always critically strikes. Man, that's pretty beautiful. I'm going to grab it just so that we can see what it looks like on the bar here. Now, before I show you guys the spell animations and we end the video, I just wanted to do the quick overview for those of you that are wondering what it looks like as far as talents in Legion in regards to the passive abilities. So a lot of people have asked me, how do you feel about there being so many passive abilities? Sometimes I feel like the passive abilities are going to be better because it's less you have to deal with in a rotation, but at the same time, I'm kind of a control freak and I enjoy having to cast and having to make sure that I'm keybinding and clicking all the things that I need to be a crucial part of my rotation, or especially when it comes to killing in PvP situations. So it's kind of one of those things where it's a great thing if you're trying to lessen all the buttons that you have to click in that avenue to take less guesswork out of certain scenarios, but also those of us that are longtime vets that enjoy having to be able to engage these specific abilities by clicking, we're gonna miss that a little bit here. So take that for what it's worth, guys. Keep in mind this is beta, so if this does change, literally all the videos I've already done so far leading up to the Warrior, a lot of stuff's already changed. So I'm going to show you guys what the stuff looks like. I'm not doing any button clicking in any certain order. I don't want to offend anybody about rotation, so please don't take this as a rotation basis here. This is me just simply clicking buttons and doing things. So here's your Odin's Fury. This is actually going to be your ability from your weapon, which is really pretty. I did like that. And then, of course, your beautiful Blade Storm. Who doesn't like that? That's just great, no matter what way you slice it. And then of course your Furious Slash, Bloodthirst. I'm just gonna click all the pretties. I gotta tell you, of all the videos I've done, the Warrior spell animations are probably up there in a list of my favorite things. And then there's your Roar, if you didn't get to see that. Yeah, this is definitely on my list of favorite things. It's gonna be this right here. So there you have it. I'm just going to show you the rest of these things. We're going to heroic leap over there just because I can. We'll Blade Storm one last time. So that's what you're looking at currently right now in Legion Beta as of the latest build. That's the damage you're looking at. Hope you guys got to see the damage on the screen in case you had any questions with the base gear. We'll do the artifact weapon one more time and then we will be done with that. If you are new to PWNCAST, make sure you give the channel a subscribe, trying to keep you up to date with all the Legion Beta information. Make sure you give the video a like, and as always, I do love to hear your comments. Make sure you guys comment with any questions, and if there's anything specifically you would like to see in beta, please don't hesitate to comment and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching.